What if I told you the way it has always been done is not the best way? Facing your fears will change your life. The passion behind this journey is merging two separate worlds into one with the goal of creating value and awareness for a better life.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by Unlocking Greatness with Jacob Emery, a coaching community built for those ready to become the strongest version of themselves. Weekly calls, proven playbooks, and a community built to grow. Greatness is not given, it's unlocked. Join us today at jacobemery.com or DM coach at jacobemery44 on all social media platforms. Welcome back to another edition of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast. Today, we are mixing it up, going old school, new school, any school, I guess. Nate Saxton's in the house, and this is, I think, your third time on the show.
Third time.
This is a different Nate Saxton than ever before.
Yeah.
Dual business owner,
Right.
doing life on your terms,
I am.
tackling it for what it is.
I'd like to say it's easy, but it's not.
You're in the training room, but you don't have much trophy to hold up yet.
Right.
And that's just part of the grind.
I'm in the building season.
There you go. It's normal,
Yeah.
right? To be up against it, for it to feel hard. The only thing in business, I think, that makes it harder is thinking that it will be easy.
To 100%.
The biggest risk in any business, I think, is not being in business.
Right.
Other than that, if you can roll a little bit of a profit, you don't have problems in life. You just have puzzles to figure out, navigate through. But it doesn't mean it makes it easier. Doesn't mean that there's not like challenges that are insanely hard to overcome, or you don't know if you can overcome them. What simple truth can you uncover is normally a question I like to frame and think about. What has to be true for me to get through this? What things must be true for this to be X outcome? What had to be true for Nate Saxton to jump in and do what he did in the last
3
months?
3 months. Yeah. I would say it all comes down. I wouldn't say it all comes down to, but I think if you're asking what has to be true, it has to be a great mindset. And that doesn't mean a great mindset 24/7, right? You're going to have your days, which I've talked to you on these days, where you're just down in the dumps, you're spiraling.
Yep.
There's nothing's going right. But I think keeping a positive mindset, like I don't like to call them issues or challenges. I call them opportunities for improvement, because at the end of the day, once we overcome this obstacle or overcome this challenge and we do it the right way, we never have to repeat it again. So we get to learn and move on and, never have to go back to that. And we get to grow as a company and as a business and as people. So I like to call them opportunities for improvement, just to keep that positive mindset around it. Because if I say, hey man, I got issues, or somebody comes to me and says, hey man, I got issues, I'm instantly, I'm like, here we go. You know what I mean? But if it's like, hey, I got an opportunity where I think we can improve, it's a whole different narrative. And then my attitude towards that is like, all right, let's get it. What's your 3 solutions where you think we can fix this, or what you think will work, and let's make it happen.
10-80-10 rule, Dan Martell, the 131, I think is that one, where you have one problem or issue, you bring me 3 solutions that you think are possible to get the desired outcome, then the one that you recommend,
Right.
the one that you think will actually work. Problems are not something I like brought to me. Bring me solutions to a situation or obstacle, opportunity. Obstacles are the opportunity. The constraint with creativity can become the thing that catapults you into the future and excels what you do. The main thing being the main thing, overcome what is the main issue that we have? The number one thing, if we overcome this, the rest we'll take care of later. Is it a dumpster fire or is it a kitchen fire? I've seen dumpster fires before, right? Dumpster fires happen probably every day. But you got your kitchen on fire. That some bitch is likely to blow up at any point in time if you don't take care of it. That's what has to be the priority.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dumpster fires that get taken care of, and that kitchen fire doesn't get taken care of because it's hard.
Well, and at the end of the day, I think, all of us, yourself included, we're all trying to grow a business. We're not trying to just maintain a business. So with that type of outlook, you're always going to have obstacles. You're always going to have problems. There's going to be 100 on the list at any given time. So like you said, it's got to be like, what is the ultimate issue? What's the biggest holdup here? And then what are the 3 solutions? Everybody has their own lens. So like in my industry, a sales rep's going to see a different issue and think that's the biggest issue in the business. May not be. Operations manager or an admin is going to see an issue and be like, this is immediately an issue. We have to fix this now.
Yep.
And we could chase those things all day long, but is that the biggest issue that we need to work on? And that's where focus is so important, especially if you're trying to start out and grow something quick, which obviously, coming with experience helps, but you really have to have a dialed in focus on what the actual things that move your business are, and then what the actual issues are. Those are the two things that kind of go hand in hand with each other.
Knowing what to do and when to do it and how to do it is often overlooked. A lot of people don't know how, they don't know when, and they don't know why that work for a company. As an owner, we are responsible for training our personnel how to handle this situation, where they need to handle it at, the timing of it, the why behind of it, the purpose, the big idea, the big picture. Knowing that it's on us no matter what.
Right.
If something happens within our respective businesses, regardless of what it was, why it happened, where it happened, it's on us.
100%.
And how to manage people was something that is truly interesting. Yeah. It's hard because transparency and directness can be received as criticism or hatred or, bullying, whatever you want to call it. But if you're just genuinely transparent, you're open to feedback, honest with your criticism or your critiques or outlining the discrepancy of what was not done. Accountability really comes from having a clear outcome, a clear timeline put in place, and then agreed upon between two people, a direct report and a manager, whatever it is. Is it clear, like really freaking clear? You need to do X by this date at this time, and this is the outcome. Paint the picture.
Yeah.
It's not very often seen or heard of, though, to have that outcome be very clear. There's always a discrepancy, which I think is the big problem with business today, and the lack of clear outcome, clear timeline, the clear framework, right? Do you have clarity? Do you need to learn something more? Is the person trained? Is there an end date? Friday at noon. Is it very, very clear? Is there advocate, not delegate? Did you advocate? Did you push off on someone that's already over capacity, that has no motivation to do it, that doesn't understand the win or the stakes if they do get this thing done? And then is there any roadblocks?
Right.
Best chef in the world can have the clarity of what needs done, knows how to do it, has the timeline established, has the capacity and motivation to do it. But the best chef in the world can't make an omelet if you don't have any damn eggs. Right?
Or if he doesn't want to.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, you got to have all these components in place. But as leaders, we have to establish criteria within our business that, okay, we desire to have this X outcome. What is going to lead to that outcome to become true? What simple truths must be there for us to get this outcome to be true? And getting down to that main thing, just like focus, finish one course until successful. You do the one thing, the main thing, and that is the only thing. If you have a sickness, don't treat the symptoms, treat the sickness, get to the root of it. But the root is normally the hard thing.
Yeah.
But normally, like the obstacle and the opportunity, they're on the same road.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times we're reactive instead of proactive. And so we start to jump at solving these issues, and it's not the root issue. And we don't figure, like, we frustrate ourselves because we're like, well, why isn't this solved? What happened? It's like, maybe if I would have spent an hour and just pulled myself back and really looked at what was going on here, who's involved, and is it a people problem or a process problem, then maybe I could have found the root cause and not wasted, 3 hours this day, 2 hours again on the next day trying to figure out, we waste so much time by trying to jump into that fire and put it out, because most of us business owners are helpers and builders and givers and want to help people. Mm-hmm. And so it's really easy to just jump in there. And that's been one of the biggest things I've had to learn over the last year, is just like giving myself time to actually think and process on these things, instead of just, oh yeah, let me do that for you. Because that takes it away from them to be able to learn from the situation or, feel accomplished for solving it.
It's you're an asshole if you do it for somebody and not let them fail. And if you say, well, I'm the best at this, no one can do it like I can, it's probably not true. You're probably just a really bad trainer or teacher.
Right.
Where you think you're better than you really are. entrepreneurs are good at very few things in all reality. They just have the determination to get to a certain place. We suck at more than we're good at, for sure.
Oh yeah.
But the reality is, if you are really good at one thing, you should be really good at teaching it. Yep. If you can't teach something very well and get a group of people to do what you do that are like-minded, the mindset has to be there. I think there has to be that genetic component, the similar. You're not going to have someone that's good at accounting go do sales. No. They're completely different. An engineer is not going to be a sales rep, right?
Right.
Very dry, very like dialed in on focus on what they're doing. And salespeople are not that way, right? In general. So having the perspective of what type of person needs to be in that role is huge. But we're not that good at very much. So by getting better, we actually should be doing less, but just more of what we do less of.
Yeah.
So we stick to the 5 to 10, 20% maybe of what we're really good at and excel at, and let that be the catapult to growth.
Yeah.
But that's hard.
It's really hard.
Doing the work in the trenches, the training ground. The training ground is also for not just ourselves, but for our team. And that's the process, the system, the structure in place. Building that is tough.
It's not fun.
And it's not fun. it's
not
necessary.
Sexy. Yeah, it's definitely necessary.
It's not sexy. It's that 3:30 a.m. workout 4 days a week where you just wake up and you're spitting up blood from the day before. You're just beat up and crawl into the bathroom, just beat to hell. But you got to do the thing.
So that's what I feel like every day.
You ain't getting up at 3:30 and going and training like that, dog. I don't want to hear that.
No, I'm not.
Let me see your alarm clock. Show me your schedule.
Yeah. No, I will admit that. I'm not waking up at 3:30 anymore, but
I'm not either. I wake up at 2:50 now. I bumped it up a little bit.
Yeah, he's a psychopath. If you guys could see Rocco's face right now, he was like
2:50 a.m. Don't hit the snooze button. No snooze. Start the fucking day off right. Standards of greatness. Number 1, no snooze button.
That's your standard.
By 3:15 to 3:30, I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
By 4:45, 5 o'clock, I'm done. By 6:30, I've had an hour and a half of development.
And how many people see that and are inspired by it and do the same thing? That probably, send you messages and show you.
Most people a lot of people think it's unrealistic for them to ever do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I go to bed too late. Yeah, what time do you go to bed? Man, like 9:30 or 10. I said, that's cute. I went to bed at 11 last night. I was
going to say,
it's a standard. It's not like I don't exactly get 8 hours of sleep. I'd have to go to bed at 6 at night,
Right.
So not doing that. You just have to be prepared for long periods of time. I mean, the training ground for me has been 15, 20 years, consistent. I've been dialed for probably 4 or 5 years,
yeah,
elite dialed, but not missing much more than maybe inconsistency of maybe a week or so,
right.
of being a shit show. But it takes a long time to build, kind of like business. Sequencing equals success. You don't build a highway and the top layer be topsoil.
Right.
You got to have a foundation. You got to do it in a sequence. We don't become billionaires overnight. You become a millionaire first, and then you become 9-figure net worth. And you have to establish these standards and this structure in place to grow and scale yourself. People don't buy our presence in our business. They buy our standards. They don't look at us and say, I just want to hang out with that guy. If you're available all the time, what are you doing?
Right.
If you're always available, if you're not always on the clock, if you're, or open door policies, I love.
Right.
But the open door doesn't mean that you need to be there 60 hours a week with the door open.
No.
You got to be very selective about that. If you're always available, what are you accomplishing?
Talk about that, because I think that's a hard thing for most people to, even myself, is shutting it off and detaching, or, taking your own time. You obviously do a really good job at it in the mornings, but I'm sure you have to have that cutoff period in the evenings as well to retain your energy, because you don't just wake up fired up. You got to start preparing, like you say, the night before to be able to get that in the morning.
It's tough to shut it off. It's not tough to turn it on because it doesn't really want to shut off.
Right.
But it's about intention. Being intentional with what you give your attention to. Balance, by definition, is asinine to think that any entrepreneur that's going to have success is going to have balance. We're not going to be balanced. Entrepreneurship and balance are the complete opposite of what each other represent, by definition. Right. You want this to be your life, or you want this to be your life? This doesn't exist if you want to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
It's a roller coaster. It's just knowing that you're on the roller coaster, I think, that most people miss. You're not going to find true balance, I don't think, in life. You have to be intentional, though. You have to be very focused on what you're doing every time, every day of every waking moment. If you have time with your family or you have time in your business, if you're right now, you got 100% of my attention.
Right.
I'm not thinking about anything else. That's by design. You have to figure out how to make your brain, though, work to optimize that.
Well, and set up the systems. Like you have an EA in the background that's, handling the stuff for you. So do I. You know what I mean? It's building. It doesn't happen overnight. Like you don't just year one of being an entrepreneur, you probably didn't have this locked in of intention and,
Dude, I was a kitchen fire pushing the dumpster fire.
Right.
It was a tag team, and it wasn't the superset you want.
So the life by design is built. It's not bought. It's not,
Definitely
handed
built.
over.
Yeah.
You have to build it. And that's what most people don't realize too. They think they can jump into entrepreneurship and, get people in there, say roofing, just grab sales reps and go. And then they're like, holy shit, I have so much on my plate that I don't even know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
But they didn't build the systems to be able to handle the volume.
Systems are what scale.
Yes.
People don't scale. You have to have the system in place to put the people in.
100%.
You're not going to scale any business with just a bunch of people. I've never seen a successful football team that didn't have a playbook to run plays. Think of even the Olympics. Some of the best players in the world. You put them on one team, the best players don't make the best team always. It's the best system with the right players that make the best team.
And how do you refine your systems if you have nothing documented? How do you get better to grow for the volume you're trying to achieve next year if you don't have anything documented to be like, oh, maybe we could do this a little bit different here?
If you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what the hell you're doing.
That's it. And that was my biggest takeaway from Dan Martell stuff is always like, obviously systems and SOPs, stuff like that. It's not fun. It's not sexy, but there's two things that can go wrong for the majority of the problems, and it's people or processes. And most of the time it's processes. Or
Process first. Always address the process first. I think there's pricing also. So the 3 Ps, process, people, pricing.
That's a good.
If you don't price yourself in the right marketplace, then no matter how good your process or people are, you're still going to lose.
Right.
Because you still have to have margin there. But the margin there with pricing has to have the right process to scale efficiency and the people that fit that to make it grow.
Yep.
Miss any one of them 3, which in business we're all missing a portion of them.
Happens often.
I would say almost every business has a default in one of the areas.
Right.
There isn't a perfectly ran business anywhere. There's higher success rates. There's much more accomplished. Every business is fucking catastrophic though at any given time. One mistake can be catastrophic to just about any business.
Sometimes you don't see them.
Most of the time you don't.
Right.
And that's where complacency, comes in place. I'm too good for this. Then Netflix and Blockbuster one. Think about that. Blockbuster, $800 million a year in late fee penalties. 800 racks a year, 800 mil on late fees. And they thought Netflix was this little peon DVD mail service company that would do nothing. And they wiped them out.
Took them out of business.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Changed the
It
industry.
seemed like overnight too.
Yeah.
And whenever you get to a certain point and you think you made it, it's when you get taken out.
Yep.
The funny part about life, I think, is that we're all chasing this thing that we're never probably going to have, or very few of us actually find. I heard, I think it was Alex Hormozy. He was talking about a person that used to work for him, went into sales, started making buku money, but it didn't fit the lifestyle he wanted. And so he actually transitioned to a lesser role, cut his pay in half, but the guy was happy as shit. The role itself was taken from him, and he just wanted to go back to what he was doing before. He ran into him like 10 years later, Hormozy on the path to $1 billion company, like all these great things. That guy was still doing the same exact thing. And when he sat down and talked to him, the guy's like complimenting him, man, you made all this money, you're doing all this, all that, like you're living the dream. And Hormozy looks at him and said, I'm still chasing what you have.
Yeah.
Because that guy was living his best life.
Yeah.
And he knew it.
That hits.
And Hormozy says, like, I'm chasing what you have and I may never find it.
Right.
And it got me really thinking about it. Like, it's a very unique journey that we're on.
Yeah.
And some days when it's the hardest, you're just like, why do I do this? And other days when it's the hardest, you're like, I couldn't do anything different.
Yeah.
I don't know any better.
It's definitely like a lot of people won't understand it, why we do it. They don't see how, most people won't even see how hard it actually is from behind the scenes. You know what I mean? But,
Never. If you haven't lived it, you don't know it.
right. But it's like, I definitely couldn't do it any other way because I love building and I love creating and I love, making new opportunities for people and changing their lives. And I mean, I think that outweighs the issues or the problems or the cruxes any day of the week. Just being able to see other people create an impact or change their lives. Like, I know even my brother, he, went from being a construction worker to building homes to now he's a top 1% salesman and, building his brand new house. He's got a family.
He did the same thing you did.
Another son on the way. Yeah. But I had to kind of like push him into seeing the potential, like you did for me. I had to push him into seeing the potential in him that he couldn't see because he wasn't wanting to do it. He was not confident in himself. And I was like, dude, quit being a pussy. Like, you have everything you need right now to do what I'm doing. You just don't have the belief in yourself, and I do. So, like, what do I have to do to get you to do this full time? And
Sounds pretty familiar. I think you must
sounds
have heard
really
that somewhere,
familiar.
right?
That's exactly what you did to me.
What do you have to lose? What's the worst case scenario?
Right.
The biggest issue that could be on your plate today, I lose my business. I lose my house. I lose all my income. Can I find a place to get shelter? Pretty sure I could.
Yeah.
Can I get food on the plate of my kids? Can I get enough to fulfill me to get to the next day as far as the basic needs in life? Pretty sure I can do that.
Yeah.
I can't be fired. There is no me being fired and go get another job type of situation. I lose everything. If it's to the point I need to be fired, I don't have a pot to piss in, quite literally.
Right.
But I guarantee I can find one. And so every failure in life besides death is nothing more than psychological. You look at prisoners of war and some of the stories that you hear there, they are in literal hell. And I can't remember the guy, and I'm going to butcher the story, but he visualized golfing every day. 18 holes, I'm going to golf this course. And he did it for like 50 years as a prisoner of war. And guess what the fuck he did? He ended up golfing on that course. And he survived and was one of the only people to survive this time period because he visualized that every day.
Yeah.
It's unique whenever I bought Arnold Pipeline, I felt no fulfillment.
Yeah.
I'm taking pictures. I just accomplished the biggest goal of my life.
Right.
I
Should be
felt
on top of the
nothing.
world.
And I thought to myself, why? I didn't enjoy the journey. So the view wasn't that good because the climb sucked.
Yeah.
But also, I'd already seen it so many times, I expected it.
Right.
And then I realized the power of visualization. You can see it. You can believe in it. You'll make it happen. You'll make it a reality. But having crystal clarity on what that is, having a true vision for your life is like really hard work.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's some of the hardest.
Most people can't even dream up something. Like I was talking to you on the last pod, like I can't even imagine, like I couldn't even see 2 years ago the life I'm living now was even possible.
You didn't know existed.
And then like within, I think 8 months it happened. And it was there and I didn't, but same thing with you. I was like, I didn't feel accomplished. I didn't feel worthy of it. I didn't feel, I think because it all happened so fast that it didn't really hit, but also I envisioned it too, like I built a plan. I put a 5-year goal together and made it happen in a year and like really mapped out what I wanted and it all happened, but I didn't enjoy the journey either because it was so fast. It moved so quick.
And it's amazing how we can get so full of ourselves and we can be so down on ourselves at the same time.
Yeah.
Rarely are we as good as we think we are, and rarely are we as bad as we think we are at the same exact time, because there's a lot of time we just don't have the true awareness of our value.
Right.
And it's often, we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught on a lot of things in life. If you're going through something and you're down on yourself, but you have a conviction and you think you're right, stick with that conviction until you're proven wrong.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, if you're being proven wrong and you're not accepting reality, then maybe you just need to sit there and shut up for a minute and wait. And by wait, I mean, why am I still talking?
Right.
There's a point in time where the facts are on the table. There's no other information needed, and you're just wrong. It's a lot easier to accept fate and accept truth, and then in trying to bend reality, because you're not going to bend reality.
No.
The truth is the truth, and you're not going to change that.
Data never lies.
You're either going to accept what the truth is and move forward, or you're going to get consumed and buried by your distortion of reality.
Yeah.
Two businesses, same time. Talk about it.
I mean, it wasn't even a planned thing. Like, obviously I did roofing because that was, what I'm best at. And I have a vision for how I want to see it, and I know how it works and how to put the pieces together. So that was a no-brainer. But like, when you challenged me to think about this, like, what do you actually want to do in life? And like, what do you want to achieve? And it's to help people. And I remember that morning that I was sitting on my couch at like 2:30. You was waking up for the gym because you're a psychopath, and I was still working. And you were like, "Dude, what are you doing? Are you still up working?" I'm like, "Yeah." You're like, "What time you have to get up?" I'm like, 6. My first appointment's at 7. He's like, "You're an overpaid assistant." And I, like, nowadays, now that I've seen what I've built with my executive operator, and like, none of this would be possible without her. Like, she does so much for me and handles so much high level stuff that I never even thought was possible. But like, I just want to show other people how easy it can be. And it's like, most business owners are already paying for mentorship and stuff like that, but how many people are paying to get your time back, or like actually slow down and learn how to delegate the things in a business owner's life that can be delegated, but you're still holding on to them? Because most business owners have a sense of control that they can't give up. But it's like, I know right now everybody that's probably listening to this, or everybody that watches your content and stuff, probably follows you from business or something like that, and there's another level for them, and it's not doing more, it's getting more off their plate.
It's actually doing less and accomplishing more.
It's 10x is greater than 2x. I believe that's by Ben Hardy.
Ben Hardy, Dan Sullivan.
Yeah. That and Buy Back Your Time. Those, I would say, in the past 3 years, those books really have stuck with me, just because like, we can't do all this stuff on our own.
And you don't want to.
You don't want to. It's miserable.
You suck at half of it and you don't enjoy it anyways. Majority of the time, like, we're good at very select things, and that's it.
Right. And it's not doing task work, and it's not doing emails. And it's like, I had a conversation with Jen, my assistant, which, don't get me wrong, she's amazing. But I think, obviously I've taken on a lot more in the last 3 months, and I've got 2 businesses I'm trying to run at the same time. So things are constantly changing, and I'm doing new things every month. So what I do with her is I have a delegation meeting once a month, and I'm like, okay, look, these are what I've been focused on the past month that I really need to get off. And it's crazy how fast it changes. Like, there will be a new list of 10 things that I didn't even foresee coming, but now it's time to delegate it. The biggest piece of that is just understanding how to delegate, because if I keep saying month 4, well, now I've got 40 new items that I'm doing. Where's my time going? Right. And it's like figuring out how to delegate. And I use Dan Martell's 10-80-10 rule. I think that's one of the biggest pieces I've taken away from any of the books. And it's 10% is my vision, how I want to see it, how I want to see it done, and how I want to see it delivered to me. 80% is them doing the work, putting it together, doing all the things that need to be done, right? And then 10% is the final review and feedback. Now, yeah, you might have to make some twists or some changes in what was prepared, but it's usually 90% completed just how you want to see it. And the more you give them that review and the feedback, the more closer to 100% they're going to get it. But I would say never chase 100%, because that will also
progress,
drive you off
perfection.
track. Yeah.
Well, perfection's an ideal. Don't exist. Find me a 100% like successful business, and I'll find you one that's probably bankrupt in 2 months.
Yeah. And
because it's not a reality check.
Right now I'm creating, I think I sent it to you, but that operator playbook, which is something I'm designing on how, because there's a bunch of, startup businesses, especially now that e-commerce and, agencies like marketing agencies and stuff like that are getting put together every day, but they don't know how to actually like systematize and scale things. So I'm putting together this operator playbook, which will actually give you the, foundation to get started with, and then, get you to that point where you have systems and processes, you have your functionality, you know where your costing and all that stuff is, and you know your resources and the things you need to use to stay, on track, scheduling wise, system wise, have all your reports to you so you know where all your KPIs are in your business. And I'm excited for that because it's something I haven't done before, but I think it'll bring a lot of value.
Being really clear on what you need and knowing the areas of business, it's simple.
Yeah.
Getting simple in business, though, is complex for a lot of people because it's seemingly too boring or too easy. But the reality is you got to do the same thing over and over and over again. And even when you know it's the right thing, we often waver from that and try something different that's shiny and cute. But it's really about the consistency over time, not the intensity in the moment. Because the moments of intensity might have ups, but the downs are catastrophic and can be fatal if you're not careful as far as business goes. 0 to 300,000 is normally something that is achievable by a lot of people. That's your first threshold. 300 to million, big growth because it's bringing in a bunch of people. $1 million to probably 10 million, a lot of people, a lot of systems, a lot of layers come in at that point. 10 to 20, animal.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Getting over that 20 million threshold is huge because the back office infrastructure, the lower SG&A, and all the fixed costs below the line are very tough to get dialed in to scale that growth. But then 20 to 50, ooh, that's real. 50 to 100 and 100 to 250. Them are the brackets of just extreme measures taken.
Yeah.
A lot of people fail in them gaps. We're trying to get to that next one.
Why do you think that is?
Because top line revenue doesn't equal net profit. You can be making 100 million, or you can do 100 million revenue, and it costs you 102 million.
Yeah,
that's not a good business model. So you have to focus on the bottom end growth as much as the top end growth, if not more. And
top end is just a sexy piece to it.
Revenue is all show, net profit's all dough, and that's one of the truest foundational statements that you're ever going to have. But I think a lot of it comes from the shiny thing. The woman in the red dress, the attractive thing in the moment that you think you need, that you want to add to. If you're going to add something, though, you really need to be subtracting something else.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't be adding anything additional without subtraction of something else that can be replaced or consolidated, whatever it is. You need the fewest tools in the toolbox that have the most ability and are the clearest with what the outcome is. And your scorecard and your playbook and your personnel on the team, they all need to be aligned.
Right.
A football team, you have an owner, you have a GM, then from the GM, just call it, you go down to the field, right? Well, your owner is your owner's box. Your GM, your visionary, your integrator, right? Just call it that, would be that kind of level.
Yeah.
Your directors. And then you get down onto the field, that's your team of managers, leading the charge to the people doing the work. The quarterback that plays defensive end is probably going to get fucked up a little bit because it's not the right spot for him.
Right.
If your special teams is running the offensive playbook, they're not going to be very successful. Yeah. It has to be in sync. Data is nothing more than a scorecard and a stat sheet. You have a couple numbers that you need to see, and you got a lot of leading indicators to get you there. If you look at a stat sheet of a football game, you can probably tell pretty clearly who's going to have the win.
Right.
So your scorecard is nothing more than a stat sheet of similar trends that are going to get you that scorecard.
Yes.
Showing a win. It's pretty simple. Not very easy to get in place.
Yeah. And to hold people accountable to putting in the data. And like you said, managing people early on, that's the hardest part to it.
Complexity creates an ability to have discrepancies with accountability.
Yeah.
If you have simple, clear outcomes, accountability is pretty well taken care of itself. But to get understanding of that's tough.
Where do you think most people don't want to spend the time to track their numbers and know where all those things are? Because I think I see that a lot with other people and newer companies, from that 1 to 3 million or even 5 million people just not wanting to spend it. They don't think that matters. And I think at the beginning stages is probably the most important part of it because what you measure expands. And if you're not tracking the things that move your business in an early stage, well, when you're trying to go from 5 million to 10 million or 10 million to 20 million, how do you know what to put your focus on or what that lead indicator is going to be that really drives the needle to get you the result you're looking for?
I think the lack of simplicity in business stems from insecurity. My personal thought. Find me a business that has true accountability. It's not from a direct report down. It's from the person in that seat holding themselves accountable.
Yeah.
Simplicity creates clarity. You can scale simple. If it's very clear what needs to be done, then the outcome is very clear of what it should be.
Right.
But when someone's insecure or not confident what they're doing, oftentimes the complexity creates discrepancies, and then you can wiggle your way out of some accountability.
Right.
And so that's a lot of what I've seen. People don't like accountability because it creates a clear gap in what they're not doing.
Yeah.
And then it creates a misunderstanding of what they need to work on.
Right.
A lot of the time, the thing that we don't want to work on is the thing we need to work on to get through it.
It's the number one thing we need to work on.
And that's where the accountability part comes in.
Yeah.
The gap of knowledge is what we need to normally focus on. If there's something, we all know the truth deep down. Whether we're willing to admit the truth, we know the truth. What's the one thing that you need to do to get your business where it needs to go? Most oftentimes, it's the thing that's blocked by fear or ego that we will not face openly or not face inner words. Like we are so scared of that thing because we know that it's our constraint.
Right.
And it is the obstacle that we may never overcome. I can tell you right now that sitting on this microphone is one of the biggest constraints in my life because speaking in public on a camera, putting my hand up in the classroom was one of the biggest fucking fears of my life.
Same.
And because of that, I realized that that's going to be my constraint if I allow it to.
Right.
It will be the thing that buries me if I allow it to. And I can't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So I got to be willing to just face the fucking thing. And
Not worry about what people think or what they're going to say. Because, I mean, you're not doing it for significance or to get put on a shiny pedestal or anything. And most people see you put out content or any creator put out content and they're like, oh, he's just overly confident. He's too into himself. Well, no, it's you're trying to create an impact. You're trying to help other people.
trying to serve others.
Trying to serve others.
I'm trying to be the superhero to the kid 20 years ago that needed it. And that being me.
100%.
The one thing that's really unique is the man in the arena. My favorite quote of all time. It's on every background I have. And that critic in the stands, I don't know how to say this any more clearly. They can completely go fuck themselves every day, every time, all the time, because I don't care.
Yeah.
If you are going to be in the stands and criticize me, you can completely fuck off.
Yeah. Get in here with me.
If you want to get in the arena and brawl, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm signed up all day for that. Let's get the gloves. Let's duke it out. But if you're going to criticize me from the stands, you're throwing popcorn on me as you're chugging your beer, eating your popcorn, doing your thing. It don't even like go in one ear and out the other. It doesn't even hit the ear.
Yeah.
It ricochets off. I don't have time for that shit.
No. It's like the person watching a football game, NFL game, and they're like, oh, I would have made it. How can you miss that catch?
Yeah.
I would have made it. Well, actually, you're eating Cheetos.
Yeah.
Drinking
Like, come on,
Michelob
Johnny,
Ultras.
fucking hot dog. Get this shit out of here. You're deep throwing a foot long right now.
You
Eating
ain't
a bag of
catching
Cheetos.
that.
You're not doing a damn thing.
Right.
Like you can't even run to the fridge for another beer. Stop it.
But I think that's what holds a lot of us. I mean, even myself included, from posting content or even putting effort into it, is because you start doing it, right? And then people are like, well, you're just overly confident. You're just egotistical, or you just want, and it's like, nah, it's actually not for me. I'm actually, well, it is. You know, selfishly, I'm trying to challenge a fear.
No. Selfishly would be not doing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think you'd be selfish not to do it. And that's where Corey Gregory changed my mind on this completely. He said, you're being selfish by not telling your story.
Yeah.
Because if you even impact one person, then you're doing it for the greater good.
Right.
It's not about you. It's about the people that can hear your story and recognize value and then change themselves.
Yeah.
Light bulb.
That's all we're chasing.
And it's not for recognition from others.
No.
Because we do this with zero true caring of other people's opinion. At least I'll speak for myself. And even the people that I care about deeply, they're never going to understand how fucking high my bar is set. No one's ever going to get it. The expectation is unfathomably high. And so by default, if a bar is set in place by someone else for me, they're going to be very disappointed when I surpass that in a short amount of time. And my bar is so much higher.
Yeah.
Lowering your desire for accomplishment because of someone else, I think, is the thing that buries you and never allows you to come out of that bury. Your dream, dude, if you're not living your own dream, you're dying every day until you do. The best way I can think of a dream is a fingerprint. We all have a unique fingerprint. You and your brother are as close as you're ever going to get to fingerprint, DNA, everything else, being twins, right?
Yeah.
You're still going to have a different fucking fingerprint. And that's why your dream is your own. Even your brother's dream for you and yours for him got to die for you to live your own.
Right.
You have to live out your dream. And anyone else that has a dream for you, intent aside, I know people that wanted me to be safe and do this or do that, and their intention might have been good, but it doesn't mean it's valuable for me.
Right.
You have to live out your own dream.
Yeah. That's a good quote.
Well, it's not a quote, it's a framework. And here we're going to go into it real quick, okay? The dream, you have to live the dream. And by dream, I mean you got to have direction. What is the direction that you're on right now? Is it going to get you your desired outcome in life? And if you don't know what you want out of life, the direction you're heading on now will get you there. It'll get you nowhere. If you don't know where you're going, any road will absolutely get you there. So you got to establish clear direction in life. What the fuck do you want this life to look like? I hand you the winning lottery ticket. In 5 days, you cash out 10 million, clear taxes, 10 million in your bank account. You all of a sudden have the means to do whatever you want. What do on that sixth day? 99% of people couldn't answer that question.
I was going to say, there's a lot of people that couldn't even tell you right now.
So you got to figure out what that perfect day looks like. What is the risk? The R. What is the risk if you take on this thing? So understand what the worst case scenario is. What is the risk if I do this thing? But it's like the stakes that I talk about in coaching. What's the risk if you don't? You're on your fucking deathbed and all you can think about is a life long full of regret. You ask that question, what if? What if I would have done this? What if I would have tried that? I promise you I'll never ask myself that question on my deathbed.
No.
Because I will always take that risk on if I think it's worth it. The E is empower. You have to empower yourself with commitment, with just enough confidence to try it. But then you also got to empower the people that are in your corner, the ones that root for you when you're failing, the cheerleaders that are there picking you up when you fall down, when you don't have something, not the ones that cheer for you after you won. Then people are going to be endless,
Right.
and irrelevant at the same time.
Right.
Empower yourself to believe you are able to accomplish this thing, and then empower the people around you to come together and say, let's go fucking get it. And all of that is irrelevant unless you take action. The A is action. You must take action, massive action. Action doesn't always equal accomplishment, but planning to get the thing, strategy for the thing, talking about doing the thing, all the things to do to get the thing, except for action, is actually going to get the thing. Action is the only thing that will actually get something in place. Yes, you need to plan things. Yes, you need to have strategy. You got to have people. But if you don't fucking start, you don't have any way to get there. And then the M is your mountain. What's the fucking climb look like? You have to find joy in the journey. Understand what that climb looks like and know that it's going to take a long time. It's going to be a harder climb than I can ever imagine, but it's going to be worth it. And you got to enjoy the climb so you can enjoy the view, because you will not enjoy the view if you don't enjoy the climb. And that, my friend, is your fingerprint. That is the dream.
Yeah.
What's your dream, Nate? You're living it right now, I would say.
I'm living it right now. I mean, I'm living it right now. Like, I get to create a life by myself, doing what I want every day, which is usually a packed schedule, but that's by my design, not anybody else's choice. I get to see other people make money they've never even seen before with, something I've built in a short 3 months. It's incredible. I get to see other people do the same thing. Like I sent out a message to the whole team the other day, and I'm like, you know, the only reason I do all this is because I want to create a positive impact in all your guys' lives. Like that's why I'm willing to stay up till 12 and walk you through these things or whatever. But the only thing I need from you guys is to turn around and do the same, like you did for me, like I did for my brother, like I do for other people. Like I won't get fulfillment from it until I see you guys create the same impact, and that's what we're all here to do. But I think like my dream is just to serve others, create a positive impact, give back. Like I want to change people's lives like you changed mine 3 years ago when I had no direction. And I started, I failed my first company, had a great product, didn't know sales or marketing, and I pivoted. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back into a construction niche where I know what I'm talking about and then, learn what I need to learn from there. But I put in the action. I just started. And then it turned into a product. And then I realized I had way more learning to do. I didn't make it, So I switched up. I went to roofing. I figured out roofing, figured out sales and roofing. And then I'm like, well, I actually love creating this business and seeing it flow and learning and seeing how other people operate and think and, run their business. And I was talking to Rocco on the way here, and I'm like, I think, as if we're under 20 mil, I think we can all collaborate because there's enough out here for all of us to eat from. And it's like the people that want to hold tight and, secretive and nobody can find out about this. Well, dude, you're not doing anything yet. You're not there. Like learn from others. Like I want to get everybody together, and I don't think it has to be a competitive world. I think collaboration's at the top. And if we're actually trying to get to the top, we all have to collaborate and learn from each other.
I think there's genuine, true collaboration. And then there's compromise for something.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting when you think of what a true collaboration looks like. Whenever someone cheers you on and they haven't won, but you did, because of a similar opportunity, it's going to come back to you. But are you willing to sit out this win for that other person, cheer them on, and be truly, genuinely, authentically grateful that they won? I was probably more excited when you called me and you accomplished certain things.
Yeah.
Not in the last 2 months, but in the last 3 years. I didn't win anything.
Right.
You won it as far as tangible goes. But indirectly, I was probably happier than you.
Yeah.
Because I knew where you were at, and then I knew how much you grew.
Right.
And then it got hard again.
There's been multiple
Right.
times.
And then you call me, and then you're like, dude, I got this situation. I'm like, yeah, I know. Here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Here's this thing that's probably going to, transpire. Here's what you should probably focus on to get through that.
It's crazy how it's always true too.
Well, you did something very, very powerful, though. You actually listened.
Yeah.
You received information when you were winning, and then one little hiccup in the road. You didn't blow your tire out. It just lost a little bit of air. But then all 4 tires blew out. Your fucking engine died, and you're going down the highway 80 mile an hour.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, I don't know what to do. But you did.
Yeah.
Because you'd already been prepared for it. Preparation today is for success tomorrow, but it's also down the road. I don't train this morning at 3 a.m. for today. I train for the person I need to be in 4 or 5 months and 6 months.
Yeah.
Maybe a week. It's all about persistence, and then persistence with the patience.
Right.
My life motto, we talk about it often, but you can be persistent and then go fast into a brick wall, or you can be a hamster on a wheel. Action don't equal accomplishment. But when you're patient, knowing the outcome's going to be there, but it's just not when you want it,
Yeah.
there may be a desired outcome and a desired timeline, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen in that time. You just got to keep the persistence there. And patience doesn't mean sitting on your ass and not doing anything.
Right.
It means that you shift focus when you're up against the wall. If I do anything else here, I'm going to actually backtrack because I will force something that's not supposed to be.
Yep.
And then I'm probably going to fail. Probably not going to get what I want. Some things have to fall into place, and we can't control them. And as entrepreneurs, that's hell.
Yeah. I think that's a huge piece to it is detaching from outcome.
Yeah.
and how it's going to transpire. Because like, you know, going back to, for everybody listening, like talking about manifesting and seeing it, well, that's awesome. But the second piece of that is also detaching from how it's going to happen and what the outcome's going to be. Because I remember when I had my first company, that powerlifting gear, I wrote out my goals and I manifested them. And it was like, I want to make 5 sales a day. I want to make 5 posts a day to overcome this fear. Well, it didn't happen how I thought because it happened for a different sales position, a different company. I hit my goals for all those things. I sold over $1 million in a product. It wasn't my powerlifting gear, but it all happened. And I learned so many lessons throughout the way, which all brought me to here. But it's like, just because if you are like, no, it's got to be like this. I've seen people do it. If it's got to be like this and this has to happen for me to do this, you're never going to see it transpire. You're too attached to how it has to happen. And that's the hardest part, is being willing to just detach from the outcome while still envisioning it and seeing it.
We often can see the end and think we know what the journey looks like. And when we get off course, we're not willing to take the detour that's clear.
Yeah.
The clear detour sometimes is what you need to get back on track. The detour's there because you don't know the fucking bridge is out on the highway.
Yeah.
There's a reason why everything happens.
Everything.
The ironic tragedy of life. It is the most profound statement, the most powering quote I probably ever put together. Ironic tragedy of life is that it must be lived forward. And we can only look back and see what is fact. And if you look back at your life, man, it's like a mathematical equation. It's so easy and simple and clear to see what happened and why I got to there.
Yeah.
1 + 1 is 2. But if you try to predict 1 + 1 is 4 in the future, no matter if it's 1 + 1 is 2 or 4 or 89, it doesn't matter what you think it's going to be. You're probably not going to be right.
Right.
Every plan that I've ever had was blown up by step 2, more than likely.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes it's just one more.
Yeah.
Ed Milet, his book, just one more, extremely good book. His dad was an alcoholic, severe alcoholic. And he asked his dad one day, "Dad, do you think you'll be sober the rest of your life?" And he said, "Son, just one more day.
Yep.
Sometimes just one more hour. Some days one more minute. That is the win." Sometimes seeing through the woods, think you got a clear plan, and then it gets foggy out. We often can't see the forest through the trees. And looking, thinking you have it figured out, and then not being able to see something. It's dark and it's tough.
It catches a lot of people too.
It does. It buries a lot of people.
Yeah. When they don't have the awareness to pull themselves back and be like, all right, what's actually happening?
And why is it happening? Not just what is it that's transpiring, but
Yeah.
like, do I truly understand it?
Right.
Which most people don't, because ego comes in play. But what is it? But then understanding the why. Sometimes you're never going to understand. And that's fucking tough.
Yeah.
People are going to do things that hurt,
Yep.
that are out of character. Or is that their character? Or is it one-off? Or is it not one-off? You're going to question things to the epitome of yourself. Sometimes trust is just knowing that this person did this thing. That's who they are. They've shown me multiple times.
Right.
People show you who they are. We just don't want to believe it a lot of the time.
Actions over words, because you can talk about it all day long, but your actions will show your true intentions. And that's what I mean, for business, for relationships, for everything. It's, you just gotta, I think Ed Milet says this too, you gotta watch their actions, not their words. That'll show their true intent. And it's true. I've seen that multiple times just this season of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you've been with me for 3 years. You know what I mean? You've always shot me straight, always been authentic, always been there at the lowest lows. That's one thing that I've never, thanked you for, is you've always been there at the deepest, darkest times.
Mm-hmm.
Not in, the wins are wins. You congratulate me, but I haven't had anybody been there for me when I was at the lowest points of my life like you have.
The wins are expected.
Right.
The lows are not. We expect to win. We don't expect to get beat up. And I know how hard it is to lose long periods of time and not have someone there to pick you up.
Yeah.
So I know that I can put your hand up, I can hold your hand high and tell you how great you are, but that isn't going to provide as much value to you as if you're laying on the ground, beat the shit, everyone's abandoning you, and you need someone to pull you up.
Yep.
I've been there. I know what that feels like more than I don't. So
Yeah.
I know that, sure, we're gonna celebrate wins, but it's gonna be very quick and very cut and dry.
Yeah.
Because you're not focused on that win when you're celebrating it. Why should I? That's part of entrepreneurship.
That's really true. I never thought about it like that because I don't.
You're on to the next one.
Right,
you're
100%.
celebrating more for other people than yourself.
That makes sense. You're already on to the next one.
Why am I focused on your win when I know that you're focused on the next thing?
The next
so
one.
I'm focused on the next fall,
Right.
next failure, the next hurdle, just the same as you are. You know why?
You already see it coming. Yeah.
And it's just part of it.
Yeah.
What is something that personal development has done for you, that has changed for you, that is abnormal, is different?
It's definitely got me to be more aware of my body, my health, and my mental. I would say all three of those things. What does Tony Robbins talk about? It's the mind, the body, and the spirit. And I think, because at first, like I used to think it was just about the body, right? And it's just get yourself in shape, make yourself look good. You can have a great fucking body, but your mental can be shit, and your life's gonna go downhill fast. Or same thing, you can have a great body, you can have a great mindset, but your spiritual's off, and you're just not operating like you should be. And you see it in people, and you can also feel it. And so I think you have, like, personal development for me is not only made me understand myself way more on all three of those spectrums. Not that I'm the most jacked or the best looking or the most faithful or spiritual, but it's helped me understand, like, you do have to have all three of those to be in synchronicity if you want to be truly happy and joyful. And you have to be truly happy and joyful to do the things we do, or it's going to be a miserable, like, that's what we're in this to create freedom and peace and impact, you know? So it's like personal development for me is only, taught me more about myself than I could ever realize, but it's brought back happiness that I haven't had in a long time. Like 3 years ago, before all that, when I was working in the asphalt plant and I was 7/12s on night shifts, and like I wouldn't talk to anybody. Like I was in a deep spot where I just wasn't happy. And I'm like, well, this doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? Like, why am I even doing this day to day if I'm not happy? And I'm like, all right, now let's start business. Then I got into business and I went 100 miles an hour, and I'm like, wait a second. I'm not eating every day. Like, I'm eating one meal, not going to the gym, not going to church. This doesn't make sense either because I'm not happy. Like, I want to make money, of course. I want to build things, but I want to do it happily and peaceful. And so, like, just learning to slow down and be where your feet are. Because, I mean, you're a visionary. I'm a visionary. We're always thinking in the future so big, and we're so passionate about it. It's just dialing it back to be like, nah, really, right now in this moment, I have everything that I've asked for and more 2 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago. Like, I'm happy with where I'm at now. My body's good. I'm healthy. I'm eating consistently. Like, now how do I show other people how to do this? Because there's people out there that are doing the same thing. They're chasing the money and not the happiness or the joy and the freedom. They're chasing, a body that's top tier, because that's how I was at the beginning of me powerlifting. Like, I was so dedicated on lifting that I didn't care about making money, because all I did was love powerlifting and the gym and stuff like that, that money didn't matter to me. But then I'm like, now I'm spending all my money on lifting, and, I'm not making money, so I'm not creating more, and I'm not doing what I want to do. So I had to, like, process and think. I'm like, that's why I got to do all these things to be truly joyful and happy and be my highest version of myself. And I think that's ultimately what we're all chasing, is the highest version of ourselves. That way we can give it back.
Personal development to me is building you.
Yeah.
It is putting in the work that the future you requires. That's how I define it. It's physical, mental, both. the standards of greatness that I live by. No snooze. We don't let the fucking snooze button. It sets the tone for the day. Forget how you feel. You stick to the plan. That's just what it has to be.
Yeah.
Feelings are not facts. Feelings are just thoughts, feelings internally. Facts are, I need to do this because it's scheduled, it's structured, it's in place. So I do it, and that's non-negotiable. Physical output, mental input, 10 minutes a day, 2 and 3 standards. So physical output, it's intentional movement of 10 minutes, minimum 10 minutes a day. It can be walking the dog. It can be just flexibility. It can be whatever. I train like a savage, 5, maybe 6 days a week for much longer than 10 minutes. But the reality is 10 minutes a day keeps the motion in place to keep the momentum going forward. Garbage in, garbage out. If you're not collecting good quality information into your head, you're not going to put it out. If you're not putting out quality, you're not helping anybody and you're not helping yourself. So you got to continue to consume quality, put out quality, track and attack. If you cannot manage progress, then how do you get through anything? So you have to measure it by tracking it.
Right.
And then you can manage it, track and attack. And then attack is just attacking every day. It doesn't matter if it's taking a nap, if it's going on vacation, you attack the day with the intention and what you focus on with your attention. So being intentional about it, attack every day with what's set out to be done that day. Last is gratitude preparation. You must have gratitude. One of my core values is win or learn.
Yeah.
I don't lose, and it's a mindset. I might get beat up really bad, but I learned a lesson about that beating that day. And no matter what I feel at the end of the day, that lesson learned is getting me forward and not setting me back. So gratitude for every day, end the day on a win, prepare for the next day because success today started last night.
Absolutely.
It's my standards. I live by them. I die by them, and I will do them every day until the day that I die. And I'll still be kicking in that grave trying to do it every day. Now it's time. We got a few minutes left. It's time for you to ask me some questions.
Yeah.
Here's some cues if you want them, but take out. The floor is yours, my friend. Any question that you want to ask.
This is exciting.
3 years you haven't got to do this. I don't
Yeah,
think
no.
so.
I've been waiting for the day. I would just say, back when, kind of like this says, your younger self, but I would say like your 24-year-old self, which is kind of around the time where you found, like, we got in contact. And what would you tell yourself back then, knowing everything you know now?
Your fingerprint is your dream. It's yours and yours only. You might seem delusional. You might seem crazy, but fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
24-year-old me was just starting to realize reality. 14-year-old me, I would have said, it's all going to change, just survive. Because that's what I needed to hear. Because I didn't think either one was possible.
Did you have a mentor back then? Or somebody above that ladder that was kind of like lifting you up and dragging you along the way? Or was it just you?
I met Corey at 17.
Okay.
So that would probably be it. Because I met him when I was, I think, a junior in high school.
Yeah.
I started selling product for him.
Oh, so you sold supplements for him?
Before muscle farming started.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't sell much, so there wasn't much of a story there. It was called Agile. It was collagen protein packets and like vitamin packets, and it was an MLM company.
How did you get in contact with Corey?
Calvin Miles, my old personal trainer at the Advantage Club. He was my trainer at like 16, 17 years old at the Advantage Club, and he introduced me to Corey one day randomly.
Yeah.
I still remember like going up the stairs at the Advantage Club, this little round table in this back corner, like dingy, shitty, musty, like corner. I'm sitting there and Corey's pitching me for the sale and took out like $600 of my life savings, went all in. And then I ended up throwing 90% of it away because I didn't do a damn thing with it. That was my first sales venture.
But you learned.
2005, I think is when that was.
Yeah.
I learned, yeah.
What's the biggest takeaway you've taken from Corey over the years?
Enjoy the process. Build your process for your day-to-day. Don't ever waver on the iron. The iron has to be the most foundational thing that never goes away. And you just got to have the fucking belief system that you can do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you go, what you do.
Right.
That'd be it.
If someone could only follow you around in the dark, not during speeches, podcasts, or on camera, what would they learn about who you really are? I like that question.
I am relentless.
Yeah.
It is nonstop. Probably more than an obsession. Probably need to see a therapist more. Probably need to get checked out to make sure that I'm okay.
He's not kidding either. I know this for a fact.
But I know that this is what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
This is the best version of me on my terms, and this is the life I want to live. I would also say that I'm a shit show just like everybody else.
Right.
Anybody that looks like they have a perfect life is showcasing you what they want you to see. I'm just as fucked up as everybody else. We all got our issues.
Right.
So to say that I wouldn't, that wouldn't be exposed would be a lie.
Right.
We all got a lot of demons in the closet. A lot of people just aren't willing to share them.
Right. And I think a part of that is everybody's demons affect everybody differently. Like even though ours are maybe a little higher, maybe a little different on a different level,
There's ours.
there's ours, and we got to overcome them. When you're having an off day, do you have off days?
Every day.
Do you?
Yeah. I wouldn't say off days, I have off moments.
Okay.
I think off days are choices,
Yeah.
but keep going.
What gets you back in alignment? Because I didn't know that about you, that you have off moments throughout your day.
Dude, every day.
Really?
You think I want to wake up at 2:50 a.m. every morning? Dude, I have doubt every morning first thing before I have the confidence to get up.
Yeah.
I just created this inability to lay there.
Right.
I would rather break my leg than lay in bed and not snooze button. Like, it's bad. It's to the point now where I forced myself, come hell or high water, to get out of bed. And there's a lot of days where it's climbing into the bathroom to wake up to get cool water on my face.
I remember when you tore your pec,
Yeah.
and then you still were training, and then you still did the powerlifting competition.
Yeah.
You still bench 405 or something
410.
like that.
Yeah.
410.
Who's counting?
He is. Which is crazy because you won my trophy that day too.
I did. That was
I
an
forgot
iconic
about that.
moment. Yeah.
But yeah, what gets you back realigned?
The ability to recognize that you're off.
The awareness.
The awareness
Yeah.
part. I think it's almost like a tool you have to develop within your own like mental space.
Yeah.
Something's off. It's just me. Is it a moment? Is it a momentum thing? Did I create a new habit? Making a mistake is doing something once. But if you repeat that mistake twice, you're really starting a new habit. So don't allow it to repeat.
Yeah.
Don't set your self-worth on a moment of time. Make the mistake. Get the fuck over it.
Right.
Look in the mirror and own it, and then go back to what you know you need to do.
What's one lie people tell themselves that sounds like confidence, but it's actually fear in disguise?
That you don't have issues, that everything's good,
Yeah.
you live a good life. The inability to recognize ego and confidence. If someone tells me something, but they can't show me the proof that they've done it,
Yeah.
that's ego. Confidence is knowing that you are who you say you are, and you have a track record of proof that can show you that I am that motherfucker.
I think that's really important now is there's so many like social media coaches,
Gurus, right?
Gurus and people that, you know,
Let me help you build your net worth. Well, show me your net worth statement. Then show me a PFS that
Yeah.
shows me your 8-figure, 9-figure net worth, and then we'll talk about it.
yeah, a lot of them, I've heard a couple people say that they haven't even been in, like they haven't even done it. They just built the thing to sell. And it's like, you haven't even been in the game, but
Yeah.
and it's crazy. So I think that, you know, I think that's a really valid statement is show me the data and what you've done. What's something you believe that would make 95% of the personal development world uncomfortable?
Consistency, boredom,
Yeah.
the easy thing every day, not the hard thing on every day. The hard thing every day isn't going to be done every day. Sometimes that hard thing or that really intense big thing is just being consistent for a short period of time every day. I think the fact that everyone has a solution that they know will work, and very few people are willing to actually do it because they want an easier way out.
Yeah.
You go to the doctor because you're overweight. You didn't get overweight by accidentally eating anything. No one fucking forced you to eat anything. No one forced a spoon down your throat.
Right.
You chose to eat these things. You chose to create this lifestyle. And the reality is it took a long time to do that. Or also the other side of that is it's going to take you a long time to undo it. So thinking the magic pill's out there, what is the indirect consequence of my choice to take the shortcut?
Well, you don't learn the lesson, so you don't build the discipline to fight it off or to keep the urges away or overcome that.
If you don't have a solid foundation of anything, the structure will fall.
Yeah.
Build the foundation. The sequence has to be in place for the success to happen.
Do you believe in good or bad moments?
Yes.
Really?
I believe that good and bad moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that there is good or bad. And I wonder that.
I think that there's moments where you make choices. I think it's not about intent. I think it's about outcome sometimes. So a good moment, describe one for me. A bad moment, describe one for me. I think it's all about how you view it.
Yeah.
How you view things is how you do things ultimately. So if you view it as a bad moment, it is a bad moment.
Yeah.
If you view it as a good moment, it is a good moment. So instead of thinking about bad or great, keep it good all the time. Regardless of outcome, you'll be in a good frame of mind and the outcome will be good, regardless of the outcome. I think it's more about perspective than it is anything else.
It's all about the meaning we attach to the situation. And I think that's really true because, you know, when I had that surgery and I was like, oh, my year's over. This is going to be the worst year of my life. This is so bad. And then I ended up having a whole life change and basically a quantum leap. It ended up being good. So that's why I asked that, because I know there's a lot of people that put the meaning, like the bad meaning to things, that it might seem less ideal, but it's actually changing you into, like, everything happens for a reason. So it's actually getting you closer to, you know, what you actually want deep down inside. And most people don't realize it because they're too attached to the outcome and how it's going to work. So that's why I wanted to ask you your idea on that.
The story of the Chinese farmer. I don't know if you ever heard it or not, but basically this Chinese farmer was in this village and his son is out playing and fence breaks, horses get out, horse runs away. His son runs after him, trying to chase him, and the neighbor comes over, man, that's horrible. You know, your horses ran away. Well, horses run away. One of them does come back with 5 more. Man, that's so great. You got all these horses back, right? Son was chasing them, whatever, playing with them. And then right after the horses come back, one of them tramples on the son, breaks his leg. Neighbor comes over, man, that's horrible. The whole time the farmer says, keeps it even killed. Son breaks his leg. Oh my gosh, it's just horrible. The next day, the military comes through. They're going to war and they're drafting all the young men that are able to fight in the war. The kid had a broken leg, he couldn't fight. Everyone came over and said, man, that's so great. Your son didn't get drafted. He's like, man, you never know what's going to come next.
100%.
So thinking that this thing might be catastrophic, it might be. But if you don't let it be catastrophic, then it won't be.
Yeah. You haven't even seen it unfold yet.
And you can't connect all the dots until they're all there to unfold.
Right.
So Steve Jobs dropped out of Reed College. Reed College was like the Stanford tuition. It was high standard, college, very expensive. His parents sacrificed everything to get him to go to college, and he dropped out like in his first year. When he dropped out, though, he took a calligraphy course, and he was sleeping on the room, like his friend's dorm room floor, every day. He didn't know why. He just was attracted to calligraphy. And that's how Apple fonts were designed, was because of that calligraphy course. Had he not dropped out, we might not have Apple fonts known what they are today.
Right.
He changed the world because of dropping out of college and taking the course. And he listened to his gut. He trusted his instinct, not knowing why, but he just couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all about having the faith that the outcome will be what you need it to be and not letting the fear take over and control you for what it could be.
Yeah.
We must maintain faith and not fear.
So what is your biggest goal with your coaching and mentoring? Because I'm a part of it, the calls, the weekly sessions. And I don't know how much you talk about it on your podcast, but I think this would be a good spot to talk about because I'm on it every week. Just, it's always valuable. There's always something you can take from somebody. Everybody talks in it, and there's different industries and businesses in it. So it's a good networking and learning sesh.
The starting goal was to help 100,000 people unlock their greatness. And I think it was within the first 10 years. It will probably grow significantly from that point, because I would assume that'll be achieved quicker rather than later. But that's it, 100,000 people.
100,000 people.
I want people to know that were just like me, that were lost, that dead or in jail by 21 is their ceiling of success in high school, that you can believe that and it can become a reality, but you can also not believe it and create your own reality. And so I'm just on a mission. I want to inspire and empower others to unlock their greatness. We all have greatness inside of us. Each and every fucking one of us have greatness inside, but so few actually pull it out and find it. And the power in knowing that you are worthy of it alone is powerful.
Yeah.
It's life-changing. Just like you 3 years ago.
Right.
You didn't believe it. I did.
I did not.
But now you know it.
Right.
You don't think it could be true. You know it is true.
Right.
And I want a lot of people to feel that way.
I love that.
Because I know for me, having one person believe in me, just one person changed everything for me.
Same.
And that's all it took. So if I can be that for someone else, it's life-changing for me and it's life-changing for them.
Where can people find your coaching course, or how to get signed up or registered just to get in? Because I know it's what.
So jacobemery.com is my website. jacobemery.com. All the coaching information's there. Group coaching, one-on-one coaching, both. The one-on-one comes with the group coaching. So you have full access to all the group. There's a library, I think, of 15 or 20 sessions in there already, which is really hard to believe.
Yeah.
And it's starting to get deeper into the layers of it, simplified from ground zero up. And I want to build a community of badasses, growth-minded individuals that want to help and serve each other. And it's the accelerator.
Yeah.
The work has to be done either way. There are zero shortcuts in life, but acceleration is absolutely something that can be had. And so jacobemery.com is the group coaching link, and then jacobemery44 is all my social medias. All my content can be found there. A couple posts a day, 2 podcasts a week. It's out there. And then the email comes from jacob@jacobemery.com, which should be coming out twice a week also.
Yeah. Nice.
So let's close it up. Where can the people find Mr. Nate Saxton?
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's just Nate Saxton, plain and simple. And then that's really it. Nate Saxton.
Who are the people you serve? What's this roofing? You in a roofing company?
Nuvant Roofing. So Instagram, Nuvant Roofing. We got Facebook, nuvontroofing.com. The website's live. It's only been 3 months, but everything's active and we're moving. So if you're in the Ohio area and you've been affected by storms, give us a call. The number's on the website. I'll drop it here, 740-272-4389.
I forgot the damn thing.
Almost did.
Nate, I'm proud of you. Came a long way, my friend. 3 years is a short amount of time in our lifetime, but it is a long time in that 3-year span.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise, my friend. Likewise. Nuvant Roofing. Wow.
I'd love to be able to come out here and do this with you.
Yeah.
Chop it up.
Need to make it more frequent.
Yeah. We're both on the calls, so find us on the calls.
Yeah, join the coaching program. If you want to become a person that unlocks their greatness, figures out how to be the best version of yourself, join the fucking group.
He's done it for me, and I mean, that's a testament that it works.
Invest in you, and I promise your life will forever change. The key to unlocking greatness is knowledge, the K, execution, the E. My friend, it's you. So if you want to unlock your greatness, got to have the key, knowledge, execution, you.
And a circle of grinders that are out there just wanting to get it. So come find us.
We're getting it every Tuesday. That is a wrap. Another episode of the Iron Infrastructure Podcast. My boy Nate Saxton, Nuvant Roofing, needs a fucking haircut, and we're out. This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by R&R Pipeline Inc., an infrastructure company. Join our team today at rrpipelineinc.com.